Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
You're from Toronto, as you pointed out. I think you've said on this show, a Leaf fan. I want them to not only beat Boston, I'd love to see them win a Stanley Cup. I want to see the whining end. I want to see the drought end. What changed in your mind from games 1 to 2 for the Leafs?
They just locked it down. They played a lot better defensively than we've seen them play as of late. And I will say something. In the playoffs, your big guys have to be your best players. Your best guys have to be the best versions of themselves. And Austin Matthews was that last night. He is the guy that makes them go. He's their driver. It starts and ends with him. John Tavares, their captain, is a huge part of that. And I thought he grinded and battled last night. They got some saves in net, which was huge. And that kind of allowed them to hold it down, especially towards the end of the game. And they're doing this without Nylander. They're doing this without Bobby McMann, who I think is a big part of their forward core. And let's be honest, I don't think Mitch Marner's had the greatest first 2 games either yet. So coming back home here with a split is about as good as you can ask for. They haven't had to go to Joe Wall yet, which I think is a pretty ideal situation for them to have your starting goaltender feeling good coming back home. And I'm like you, I want to see this team break through too. And I think last night changed a lot of people's minds about and perception about who they are. This was a team that generally couldn't play and couldn't, fight through adversity in tough games. And last night really showed that they can hold on. But your top guys have to be your best guys. And last night they certainly were.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
Taylor writes in, he says, Roddy, why do you keep that microphone in front of your face? I find it a little distracting, but enjoy the show otherwise.
how about that?
I moved it because my chiropractor said, Rod, your neck is getting screwed because you're leaning over this microphone all the time. Can you prop it up? My chiropractor is very happy.
Oh, yeah.
You guys aren't. I don't know what to do. Been in radio for 30 years. I never worried about what it looked like.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
You know, as they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what I've found is if you throw any type of fruit hard enough at them, they'll stay away. It doesn't just have to be apples. Welcome to the RP Show, everybody. There's the Moose fixing his eyebrows. Moose, you're not old enough that you have to trim your eyebrows, are you? Your eyebrows look fine. You got caught on camera fixing your eyebrows.
It's been a whole thing with the eyebrows lately, my guy. Yeah. Whoa.
What was that from? What was that from?
Oh, man.
I don't remember.
Was it Grease?
It was from a show.
No, or was it Fonzie? Somebody.
It might have been. Nah, I think it was Superbad. Anyways, some iconic movie. I'm not sure. We are on the air, episode number 1473 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, Canada-wide on the Game Plus television network in 32 U.S. states. It's growing rapidly. Very excited to welcome to the program Jared Dumba coming up in hour 2 from the famous hockey-playing Dumba family. He'll be with us in hour 2, but it's just Moose and I in hour 1. And if you're ready to go, I'm ready to go. Do you have anything to say before we get rolling?
Let's roll, baby.
Okay. You guys want to hit the quick 6 show horn, please? We do a little thing here called the quick 6 show topics. And actually, I've had a couple of writing in a few late add-ins. It's like about 8 or 9 show topics today. Well, there's a lot of football fans that come here every day to talk football. Guys, fall is for football. We say it all the time. But you need to know your role and where you stand, okay? You need to know it. So hang on. We got Masters teeing off. We got the Blue Jays are on a roll. NBA's getting down to the nitty-gritty, but we open with hockey here right now. Connor Brown scored his second goal of the game with 21 seconds left on the game clock, lifting the Edmonton Oilers to a 4-3 victory over the St. Louis Blues last night. Connor McDavid had 3 assists in his first game back. Oilers still looking to clinch a playoff spot with 4 games to go on their regular season slate. Tough loss for the Flames. Cutter Gauthier scored a minute and 11 seconds into overtime as the Anaheim Ducks rallied to beat the Flames 4-3. I think you and I both had the Flames. Matthew Nyes capped his hat trick with a game winner 3 minutes and 56 seconds into overtime, and the Maple Leafs beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3. That's the game that I watched from Amalie Arena. Mitch Marner scored and had a pair of assists in regulation, while Austin Matthews contributed 3 helpers. The victory strengthened Toronto's lead atop the Atlantic Division with 4 games left on their schedule. Moose, you really know your Leafs. Kudos, boy. You picked them to lose in Florida and win in Tampa, and that's exactly what happened. So are they going to win the Stanley Cup? How do you know the Leafs so well?
You know, it's funny. I think to me, it's just knowing this team, but also just knowing some human nature. And you go on these road trips and just the way they were playing and, you know, the opponents they had. I knew they would come back and play well. And here's a little, you know, what do you want to call it? A little Easter egg for our TV viewers. We have, you know, most of our viewers watch across Canada and into the U.S. on television. If you ever watch on our streams, we have some live streams of the show digitally on YouTube and such. If you watch, you get a little 3-minute pre-show, kind of like at the movies. And the pre-show was at Luke Gazdic. I was in the other room, trying to get the eyebrows under control. You could just rinse and repeat that for the analysis of last night. Like the team showed adversity and ability to come back. And, you know, I was out with some Leaf fans last night watching the game, and they were really upset. They're like, I can't hold the lead in the third period and let Tampa back into the game. We got to be a little better at the end of the game. And I'm like, guys, boys. In the past, the Leafs give up the tying goal. They probably give up 2 more before the third period's over. But Craig Berube's got this team in a no panic situation. Yeah, you blew the lead in the third, but you didn't panic. And you came back, overcame a little adversity, and won in overtime. Like, that's what you want. It's not going to be easy in the playoffs.
Dude, okay. My mind is just going all over the place with what you're saying. Number one, I love living here in South Florida. I don't think I'll ever live in a non-NHL market again. Write it down. I can't not live in an NHL market. I love it so much. But it's also perfect because it's not everywhere you go do you hear about the Panthers and the Lightning. It's not. It drove me nuts in Calgary that you couldn't go anywhere. I'm sorry, I'll just say it. And they love their team, but it's a little too much. And then the Leafs. You ended up winning the game. Leafs fans would drive me nuts, man. There's a reason that I've been offered jobs in Toronto. I've never went. I'm sorry. I didn't want to live there. Not because of Leaf fans, but that would be part of it. Here, it's just ideal. You know, it's an NHL town, but nobody talks about the team. It's...
These
you know what I'm saying?
Teams,
it's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Perfect. Yeah. But having said that, Dolphins is their thing. And you can just, you know, it's sort of like the never-ending Mexican resort, luxurious 5-star. The buffet is always open. You can come in 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, whatever you want. You can go in and get something. If you want to talk Dolphins, you can do it at any time. There's 5 all-sports radio stations. They're all talking about the Dolphins, and Tyreek Hill stepped in it again yesterday. And, of course, here they're all talking about should the Dolphins even want a loser like this. But that's not what we're talking about here right now. But it's funny that you perked up listening to Luke Gazdic talk about the Leafs and how in the playoffs their best players need to be their best players. I mean, that's the hockey cliches are so overdone because I've heard them my whole life, but there's also a reason why they're cliches. They're true, you know? And I looked up Marner, like a couple of things. I told you I watched the Leafs Lightning game last night. I have a choice between the broadcast and I picked the Lightning. Dave Randorf. I love him. And he introduced me to Brian Engblom, his color guy last year. I never really knew why Brian Engblom was the Lightning color guy. He's from Winnipeg. He played for the Jets and the LA Kings a very long time ago. He never played for Tampa Bay. Why is Brian Engblom the man in Tampa? Then I met him. Darren, you know how you meet some people and there's just this gold aura around them? Brian Engblom has that. He's special. That's all I'll say about the Tampa Bay Lightning TV color guy. Brian Engblom. He's special. And we already know Dave Randorf is. So they're talking about the game, and they're doing the game, and the Leafs jumped out to a 2-0 lead. I'm like, oh, boy. Here's the Leafs. They've come to play. And then the Lightning, bing, 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 4 posts in the first, within 10 minutes, right? With what you're talking about, the Leafs took their foot off the gas. And so that's one thing. Randorf was going on about how John Cooper, the Lightning coach, raved about Mitch Marner and the way that he played at the Four Nations and what it was like to be around. I'm sure he's awesome in a 2-week tournament. I bet he's friggin' great. How about a 2-month tournament? I just looked up the stats, Darren. Not that you don't all know this, but I'll remind you. Here's his point totals. 97 this year, 85 the year before, 99 before that, 97. Then he was injured, 67 the year before that. Do you know his playoff totals? 3.
Single digits. Yeah.
14, 8, 4, 4, 4. And I don't need to tell you, there was a lot of pro scouts at the game here the other night in Sunrise. And a lot of them were watching Mitch Marner because his contract's up, right? Yeah, he's great in a skills tournament. He's great in a short-term tournament. Austin Matthews, by the way, was awesome both games. But is it all resting on Marner and goaltending? My God, it's not like people don't talk about the Leafs enough. But here we are talking about them more. What an infuriating hockey team.
I know, man. And I know every fan and viewer watching our show feels that way about their team, and it's no different than what you and I grew up with in football with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in that market. Or, I'm sure if you lived in Dallas, it'd be very similar there too. But it's very frustrating. And we don't know the answer. Like we say, this guy's got to do this and that guy's got to do that. And until it all comes together, you don't know what the secret recipe is. But yeah, guys got to step up in the playoffs. When you're paid the money, you need to deliver results and score those big goals. It happened in the Four Nations. Set up McDavid, was part of that, scored the overtime winner early in the tournament. But now you need to do that in the NHL. We'll see if that translates.
Infuriating hockey team, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And God bless you guys that stick with them all the time. And you're right about the big team in the big market, the big fish. Riders, Flames, Oilers, Dolphins, Yankees. Rich in Edmonton writes in, he says, if I was in a room full of Leaf fans, I'd need vodka shots. And I don't even drink. Bomber Boy writes in, he says, Moose looks like he's getting his Winnipeg whiteout gear ready. Go Jets. John says Moose is looking like a pro golfer. What exactly are you looking for today? You've achieved it. Whatever you're trying to get, you've achieved. But what is it?
Well, if you ever see me wearing a hat, it's because I'm a little too lazy to do my hair that day. So that's one. And you know what? I was thinking about that. And I saw the golf hat in the closet. I'm like, it's the Masters. The Masters was our poll question. So then I'm like, well, what can I wear that goes well with the thing? It was just put together. It wasn't meant to necessarily look like a golfer, but yeah, be in the golf mood today for the Masters.
So many things. Something just popped into my head that usurped the thing that had just popped into my head before that. See what it's like to have ADD. Yeah, Moose looks like a caddy, like I say, a golfer, whatever you want to look like. Old-time hockey fans will enjoy this. Doug Sauter, former coach of the Regina Pats, several junior teams. You know Doug Sauter, the big walrus mustache, right? We were at the year-end banquet. It was about 1986. My dad was working for the Pats. I'd have been 14, and we went to the year-end banquet at the Travelodge. My dad took me everywhere we went, and Brad Miller was there. It was the 80s, Darren. Brad Miller was there in a white suit and a white shirt and a pink narrow tie. He went on to be drafted by the Buffalo Sabres, Brad Miller, and played some games in the show. Doug Sauter turned to him in this all-white uniform. Remember, it's 1986. And he says,
oh, boy.
You get a job in the bakery? Did you get a job in the bakery? Just the way hockey people talk to each other, right? Put-um-bum. I'll do it. Put-um-bum. Okay. We got a lot of hockey to get to. Why do I remember that 40 years later? Oh, my God, I'm such a loser.
Things that stick with you.
Yeah, right. Point 2, Bo Bichette's sacrifice fly scored Ernie Clement in the 11th inning as the Blue Jays beat the Red Sox 2-1. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. scored Toronto's first run and registered 3 hits on the same day he finalized that 14-year, $500 million deal. With Toronto, the new deal has a record $325 million signing bonus and starts next season. Jays go for the sweep this afternoon in a matinee at Boston. Where's the guy from Yorkton that wrote in here and said, oh, they're waiting till this road trip's over so that he can have a physical before they announce? Sure. Okay, whatever. Throw everything on the table. I just noticed, I haven't heard from him. Because this road trip continues after Boston. They go into Baltimore to play the last place. Or they weren't waiting for him to. Where did you hear that? And why did I go along with that? But anyways, you and I both thought the Jays would be out of this thing by mid-June. And I'll remind you, it's still April. But dang, there's something.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, and that's what you want. You can't sit there as a team and look at the whole season and get ahead of yourself. Just win each series, win the games in front of you. They're doing that, and even I know they lost the tough one to the Mets, and I still dwell on that when they were up 2-0 in the 8th inning, bottom of the 8th, and they lost it. But even last night, they were in a tight game, and they were able to win a ball game, extra innings, and one-run ball game. That's what you need to win the close one. So yeah, they're a vibe right now. First place, keep it going. Why not?
Big night for Randy Arozarena. The Cuban outfielder hit a grand slam in the 8th and drew the game-winning walk with the bases loaded in the 9th as the Mariners rallied to beat the Houston Astros 7-6. The victory gave Seattle its first series win of the season. I'm reading a Mariners result because it was in the sports summary, but also the Mariners are the West Coast's team. They are Vancouver's team. I don't like it, but that's what it is. And if I lived in Vancouver, I probably would feel the same way. So boom, Mariners got their first series win of the season. Point 3, speaking of the West Coast, hosting the 2024 Grey Cup game and festival generated $121.9 million in economic impact for Vancouver, the CFL announced Wednesday, along with Sport Tourism Canada. The economic total is the highest generated for a Grey Cup in over 10 years. Now, somebody's going to have to help me. Who was more than that? I follow this pretty closely. And if you go and listen to my commentary this morning or read it at rodpeterson.com, this is how I've changed. Yeah, the Riders and I have kissed and made up. But I can't wear the green glasses. Because I want to say 93 million, I think we made in Sask in 2013, and we won the whole thing. That set a record at the time. This dwarfs that. This blows that out of the water. And the old me would say, oh, they're cheating. They're fudging the numbers. Or, no, hats off to the BC Lions. I was there. It was the greatest Grey Cup ever. I was that guy that refused to believe that IG Field in Winnipeg, the new stadium, was louder than the old Taylor Field. People were coming up to me. Rod, here's the decibel meter. It's louder. I don't care. Nope. What a jerk. It's embarrassing to think about the way that I used to be. Narrow-minded, stubborn, angry. That's what I was. You and I didn't even know each other yet. Thank God. I've said you can thank God many times you didn't know me back then. Now, I don't mind saying, I may be the Rider guy, but I'm also the CFL guy. The BC Lions, you've earned it. It was the greatest. It was treated so great. They put all their top people on this show, as you know. Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat, Darren. $121.9 million for the Grey Cup. Kudos, Vancouver. I know it was driving you nuts not to be there.
Oh, my gosh. Was it ever? It was. Like, greatest Grey Cup, I love it. Like, if people want to have a little debate on what's the greatest Grey Cup, I mean, it depends. It's such a personal thing. Like, how do you measure, right? Like, the game has to matter. The economic spin-off, the actual festival has to be great. Like, I look at the Grey Cup in Hamilton because I got to be there with this show on the grounds at the festival, doing all the things, walking around, going to the pancake breakfast. Obviously, when you're at Grey Cup, they're all great. For me, I'd go back to 95 as the first one I remember watching, like on TV when it was in Saskatchewan. Such a cool one. I remember we had it on the VHS. We recorded it afterwards too, and we'd watch it again later on. But Vancouver looked awesome. They obviously made a lot of money. They made it feel big time. Hard not to argue that that's maybe the greatest one ever.
Statistically, it is, and I was there, and I can say it's the best that I've ever been at. And it hurts to say, but I can say it now. Some people call that growth. But the CFL is so flippin' awesome, man. Why it hasn't grown is a topic for another time, maybe tomorrow, but the product's still great. And they did a great job. Way to go, Vancouver. We haven't even got to the NFL yet. Masters, NBA, NHL tonight. Our poll for today, it's all coming up right after this. We are live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcast.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Covering a lot of ground today. Hour one's brought to you by Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green, filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. They sponsor our guest appearances. Did I tell you that? Jared Dumba coming up in hour two from the famous hockey-playing Dumba family. He is one of our NHL analysts. Let's bring in the Moose because he's dressed so golfily. I'm dying to talk about this NFL stuff, but hey, for the sake of you and the viewers that love it, the green jacket is officially up for grabs as the Masters has gotten underway today. 4 Canadians were in the field, including 03 winner Mike Weir. Corey Connors of Listowel, Ontario, will make his 8th Masters start, while Nick Taylor of Abbotsford is competing for a 3rd time, and Taylor Pendrith of Richmond Hill, Ontario, makes his debut. You explained it a little yesterday why you love this so much, but explain it again, Moose. This is like your Christmas.
Tradition. Yeah, it's tradition. It's history. It's a fun thing that everybody gets into. It's like, for golf fans and non-golf fans, it's like the Super Bowl of golf. People who don't watch golf all year or who aren't into it or don't even play the game, they follow the Masters. They get around the TV and spend the weekend drinking Arnold Palmers or doing their thing. Like we were in the commercial break, we're whipping up the pimento cheese sandwiches are on the menu today here in the household. So I'm grating the cheese in the commercial breaks. And when I take my smoke break, it'll be my sandwich break here at the top of the hour. So we're going to have some fun with it. I think that's what makes it cool. Like, it's just like I could relate it to the Super Bowl. That's my best comparison.
Super Bowl of golf makes sense to me. But I'll tell you this. I don't have a desire to go to the Masters at all. But I've been to Georgia now many times. And what's the song? Georgia, Georgia. Doesn't TSN play that song? The azaleas. Is that the purple flowers? Like,
yeah.
Georgia's literally magical, dude. It is magical as a state. I'm going to tell you, we've gone to Savannah. Went there just to go to a barbecue place to Savannah, Georgia. Been through Atlanta. Jimmy Carter's from there. I think Martin Luther King's from Georgia. Oh, my God. Spent a night in Macon, Georgia. Yeah. It's just a great, great state. And the Masters is home to it. And that's the poll question today, by the way, for EMJ Marketing. Let EMJ Marketing transform your audience with an all-star speaker from their roster. Check them out at emjmarketing.com. The poll question is, who wins the Masters? Moose went with the top 3 betting favorites, Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Bryson DeChambeau, or other. McIlroy is leading with 47% of the vote. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler next with 16%, DeChambeau 8%. Other gets 29%. Is Rory McIlroy really on? Why are they voting for Rory? He's on a roll. Is he world number one?
Yeah, he's on
ranked?
a roll. Scotty Scheffler's still world number 1 and still the betting favorite. But Rory's off to maybe his career best start. I mean, 2 wins before the Masters. He hasn't had that in his career. But it's been a while since Rory's won a major. So I think 2014, you'd have to go all the way back to find his last major. So yeah, I'm not surprised. He's hot. I think he's a fan favorite. People like Rory. They want him to win. But if you were betting those 3 guys versus the field, the smart money is probably on the field because it's probably not going to be one of those 3 guys, statistically speaking. But yeah, I think fans are pulling for Rory.
On Georgia, Rich in Edmonton writes in with a few things. He says, Macon, Savannah, 2 outstanding Georgia towns. And then he says, you took the words right out of my mouth, Rod. Yeah, I've been all over the state. I have not been to Augusta, probably won't. But if it looks anything like the rest of the state, oh, my God, it's really awesome down here. I'm just going to say that. I think I've made that very clear. Regarding these teams that are out of the playoffs, Utah, Darren writes in and says, Utah Hockey Club officially out of the playoffs. Been a great first year in Utah. The team far exceeded expectations. Well, I saw Utah come through here last week. They're a very, very good young team, like Montreal was 3 years ago. Like Anaheim, very skilled. Doan's kids on that team, right? Dylan Genther, the former Edmonton Oil King. They got a lot of really great young players. Clayton Keller. Pretty soon, Clayton Keller isn't going to be young. You know, so with them just missing the playoffs, I feel like saying, get used to it, but I don't want to be that guy. Let's be positive that the Utahs will eventually get into the playoffs. Like we've been saying about Anaheim, Darren, for how long?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Utah's, but they're fun. And I don't know that there is fun. I wouldn't say there is fun, or I wouldn't be quite as optimistic about Utah, weirdly, as I am about San Jose. That's a fun team who I think is going to start to, like, they're like an airplane coming down now. They're fun, but they're not taking off. When they take off, it's going to be really steep and really fast. It's not going to for San Jose. But Utah is fun. They're close. Like, I think they're really close. They do have to do some things in the off season, but it's fun for that community, and I think they will end up in the playoffs before long, as early as next year.
Very close. They've been very close for a very long time. And the thing is, that's the former Arizona Coyotes, where the longtime viewers know I've spent a ton of time. My friend used to own the team. They've always been this close. And the coach, Andre Tournier, gets everything out of them that he can. He's clearly a tremendous coach. At what point does he get burnt out? That was what I was afraid was going to happen in Montreal. That was St. Louis. Building, but then the coach isn't there to see the fruits of the rebuild. But Montreal has lapped Anaheim in terms of their rebuild. Arizona's been in a rebuild since 2012. Let's just say it the way that it is. It's a 13-year rebuild in Arizona, Utah. On the what? Go ahead.
It's true. No, I'm just, when you say that, my mind goes to these metaphors and things. I'm like, just like you're building a house from scratch, and then you come into the job site one day and you realize the floorboards are rotten. So you got to take it down and start a little bit over. But you got a little bit of the foundation. Then you come back after another 3 weeks and the foundation's cracked now. So you got to redo. Like, every time they start to get some semblance of a build happening in Arizona, there's an issue of some kind, and they got to start again. Like, it has been going on for a while. You're right.
They got seemingly a good owner now, and hopefully that stability will help this team get into the playoffs. I was smiling as you were talking, though, because for whatever reason, this reminded me. A couple things. I talk about Doan's kid playing for Utah. He's good. Really good. And, Tim Hunter came on this show here a couple weeks back and said he heard the rumblings in Arizona, where Tim has a home in the winter, that they're going to, there's an ownership group in Arizona, and Doan's part of it. I'm like, they're going to bring the Coyotes back. And I'm like, did they not? Isn't Doan working for the Leafs? You can't be, I don't think, unless you're Tom Brady, work for one team and try and be an ownership group of another. I don't think you can do that. But I was like, maybe he's not with the Leafs anymore. Well, guess what? Guess who was here on Tuesday? Which is a whole other thing. The Toronto Maple Leafs. I saw Shane Doan. We're the same age, but we don't look the same. You know what I'm saying? Shane Doan looks like $1 billion. There's Shanahan. There's Tree Living. There's this guy. There's that guy. It is a 3-ring circus. No. It's a 5-ring circus rolling into town when the Toronto Maple Leafs come. All this media, all these broadcast crew. My God. I think the term is top heavy or even clunky. I mean, you can't swing a sock and hit without hitting some Maple Leafs executive. I don't know what they all do. God, I hope they do something in the playoffs. But I will say this, and I know no other show talks about these things. Sorry, go ahead. What?
No. So they need a shotgun start for the tea time after they lose out in the playoffs with all the executives they've got on there. They'll fill the whole 9 holes. Yeah.
I know. And I know no other show talks like this, but I don't think I'll get in trouble for this. This is not bad. It's just Brad Tree Living got off the elevator and made a beeline for Dale Talon, the former GM of the Panthers, and Dale popped up, and they embraced each other, a huge hug, and I'm like, I love that. It was Dale Talon that said about hockey guys, he's like, he said it to Serena, not to me, but she repeated it. He's like, most guys in hockey are good guys. And I'm like, that's pretty awesome. To see Tree Living and Dale, the looks on their faces, it was like those 2 little kids, that video meme with the 2 kids that go running down the sidewalk and hug each other. That's what it looked like. It was great. That's the stuff that people need to see and hear about. Yeah. On the Grey Cup, setting a record, 121. Well, one more on hockey. Rich in Edmonton says, I see all these young teams like Utah and Anaheim playing some good hockey and an aging Oilers lineup just muddling through. Okay, well, they're in the playoffs. Those other teams aren't. So can you enjoy it while they're in the playoffs, Rich? I appreciate what you're saying, but they are the oldest team in the NHL. At some point, this window will close, and it may or may not have a Stanley Cup. You could be the Vancouver Canucks, or, right, when that window closed, it still has an open sense. Can you just enjoy it while you have a team that's contending for the Stanley Cup. That would be my advice there. Oh, they're talking about the Grey Cup record-setting numbers. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says $121 million economic impact must take into account the inflationary conditions that exist, especially in a place like Vancouver that has higher costs for services anyway. Tony in Cochrane says skewed numbers on the Grey Cup profit. If you jack up the prices on everything from tickets to hotels, and you see a bigger bottom line every year. Guys, who cares? The number is what it is. Okay? The Vancouver Grey Cup Committee set an all-time revenue record for the area. Economic spin-off, 121 point. It doesn't matter. Do you want to tack it on? Any thoughts on that, Darren? Like, that is the but crowd that I have no time for.
Right. And, it's the but crowd. And there's a million examples. No. Get out of here with that. I'm good. Move on.
Okay. 0.5 limited minutes didn't stop Raptors star Scotty Barnes from putting up big stats as Toronto trounced the Charlotte Hornets 126-96 last night. Barnes finished with 17 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Raptors rookie Jonathan Mogbo had the first triple-double of his career, scoring 17 points, reeling in 10 rebounds, and contributing 11 assists. Meanwhile, one game that I was watching far more than that, the Miami Heat lost a play-in playoff preview in Chicago last night, 119-111 to the Bulls. Despite all the, not that anybody that watches this show is paying attention to what the Heat's been through this year, but the Jimmy Butler drama and all the rest, they're still going to at least get into a play-in game. And it looks like it was going to be Chicago, but they got spanked by him last night. We still got more topics to get to. We haven't even got to the NFL yet, and that's going to be great. We'll be right back. We're live on the Game Plus television network, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 90251 3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Broadcasting from Studio 23, it's the RP Show. Hour 1 brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Working Man, starring Jason Statham. He plays Levin Cade, who left his profession behind to work construction and be a good dad to his daughter. But when a local girl vanishes, he's asked to return to the skills that made him a mythic figure in the shadowy world of counterterrorism. Working Man, starring Jason Statham, in Landmark Cinemas now. I'm going to jump into the NFL because I don't know how much time it's going to take to get to these topics. There are several. I guess not. I'll get to the Tyreek Hill news here because everybody's talking about it here. And should the Dolphins keep this clown? But the NFL, I'll tell you why I love Mike Florio so much in Pro Football Talk, because I think he's like me, Darren. He says it the way that it is, i.e., he's sitting there going, what has become of the Pittsburgh Steelers that they would sit and wait on a prima donna like Aaron Rodgers like this? That's not the Pittsburgh Steelers I know, is what Florio said. And apparently, somebody on their way out of town, former Steeler, signed somewhere else, trashed the organization, saying, we haven't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger left. We don't have leadership. Our offense is a joke. I don't know who it was. Somebody would have to help me that follows the Steelers and the NFL more closely than me. But I was just sitting there going, this looks very unbecoming of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that they're on their knees groveling. That's what it looks like to Aaron Rodgers. They've made their offer. And Florio said all of that this morning, because I was thinking that in the back of my head. Maybe the Steelers just aren't what we're used to. Unless I've misread the situation. Turns out I don't think I have.
Yeah. No, they sat there and they said, look, this is what we want. This is the guy. We're out for you. And they removed themselves from the lineup, right? Like they didn't go after any other quarterbacks. So they let everybody else get a quarterback thinking, we've got our guy. He hasn't signed with you. So now you're stuck, waiting, hoping, oh my God, in such a tough spot, haven't taken care of that position. And if you don't get him, if he decides to retire or not sign, then you're stuck in the draft. And you don't have necessarily a great draft spot to pick somebody who's going to come in and start. So do you got to now engineer a trade? You'll be working, as in a panic mode instead of operating from a position of strength, which they're not doing right now. So they better hope this works out.
Well, really, the only reason that I bring this up is because for our football fans that watch this show daily, that are following this, like, people need to understand America, and our American viewers know this, but it's all football all the time. I was driving to the gym this morning. I put it on Fox Sports 640, Fox Sports South Florida, and it was the national show with LeVar Arrington and Brady Quinn. They're talking about Aaron Rodgers. Will he or won't he? And Mike Florio's talking about it. I'm like, oh my, is there nothing better to talk about? Well, not thank God Tyreek Hill did this, but I don't know how much everybody's paying it. Did you hear what he did yesterday, Darren, allegedly, where the police were involved, Tyreek Hill?
Hit me.
Well, the report is this, if I read it correctly. I don't want to go too far into this, but his mother-in-law called the police because she was fearful for her daughter. Tyreek Hill's wife or significant other or whatever. I'm not going to get into what he allegedly did because I might get it wrong and I don't need to pull a Pat McAfee and get sued. All I know is it didn't make Tyreek Hill look very good. And here he is again with police involvement again in a reported domestic violence situation. And what it's got Dolphins fans saying now, and even media, because I heard it in the media today, was, do we need this guy? Yes, he runs 21.5 miles per hour. Yes, he can take it to the house every single time he touches the football. But what is he doing to that locker room? The guy that kind of holds them for hostage when they lost their last game of the year, the playoff game at Buffalo, he's like, I don't know if I want to come back. And the coach, Mike McDaniel, had to kiss his ass in a meeting the next day to beg him to stay. There's people that have said to me, because I've been with championship teams, that you can't win a championship without quality people. And I see that to be true. That's borne out. I've seen evidence of that. And but what they're saying is, if we get rid of Tyreek Hill, we're starting all over. It's just like, oh my God. See, welcome to Dolphinsville. I told you their fans have been trying to get me to leave the Dallas Cowboys nation to come over here to cheer for the Dolphins. They're like, look, we don't have any expectations. We know that we're always going to blow it. In Dallas, you guys think you're going to win the Super Bowl every year. And we don't expect that. So just come over here. It's a lot less heartache. I'm like, oh, my heart's broken either way. Would you have Tyreek Hill on your team? Would you have Tyreek Hill on your team?
I mean, the short answer is probably not at this point. The production is going to continue to decline. It's just natural. It's the case. And at what point does the difficulties outweigh the benefit, right? And the costs outweigh the benefit. But the long answer is no, I don't know. I'd have to meet him. I don't know Tyreek Hill. Like, there's a lot of guys, I know them, who are really good guys that end up in really tough situations. And, from their past and all the rest, and they just can't shake it. They're always in the wrong place at the wrong time, hanging out with the wrong crowd and all the rest. But at the same time, that whole saying of where there's smoke, there's fire, like, you don't, yes, it happens. But I mean, nobody's calling the cops for a domestic violence situation because Leanne and I are sitting here watching the Masters peacefully on the couch. Like, the cops don't show up to houses where everything is great. It just doesn't happen. So, I mean, enough calls keep happening. Connect the dots. Something's going on here. And if you're always in the middle of it, things probably aren't that good. You're probably not that good of a person. That would be my assumption.
The report that I read, but I'm so wary of what I read now, I don't know whether to believe it or not. But if it is true, it's horrific of what he's being accused of, in my estimation. A really bad thing. Yet, whether he's on the team or whether he's not, we talked earlier about how the Leafs are number one where you live. The Flames are number one in Calgary. The Jets are number one. The Dolphins are number one here. So that stadium's going to be sold out no matter what. It always is. Funny how those teams perennially disappoint their fans, yet they're sold out every year. What's the connection? Carlos in Indianapolis writes in, and he says, success can forgive a lot, but it doesn't always produce a clean slate. He hasn't even had success. John from Winnipeg says, what's Aaron Rodgers waiting for? Maybe just retire then, dude. Well, if you are following this story, everybody thought that Pat McAfee was going to announce it last night at this WWE event or whenever they had it, because they're such great bum buddies, McAfee and Rodgers, and he didn't announce. There was no announcement. So now the next conspiracy theory is that Rodgers is waiting to see what the Steelers do in the draft. Darren alluded to that earlier. Sort of like if they do trade up to get one of the available quarterbacks, he doesn't want to be part of that situation again like he was with Jordan Love in Green Bay. Yet, if he's secretly holding out in Minnesota for an offer from Minnesota, he would be potentially behind J.J. McCarthy there. So I'm with John when he says just retire already, unless he's enjoying jerking everybody around and setting himself up for a very embarrassing situation where he's like, well, I didn't get the offer I wanted, so I'm retiring. And I just don't feel like that's going to happen at this stage of the game. Do you?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think if Aaron Rodgers was going to retire, it would be on his terms. And I think this too, I think he's just, I don't know what he's waiting for. Maybe he's waiting for the draft to see what they do in the draft. And what all weapons are they surrounding him with? But I don't think that them drafting a quarterback now would negatively impact Aaron's ability to sign or willingness to sign. I think I think he has to know he's at the point where he's in his last number of seasons, 1, 2, or 3 seasons. I don't think he's got 4 or 5 left. Maybe he does, but like that would be the most. So drafting a young quarterback to take over after that, I think he, at this point, would be fine with that. Back in Green Bay, different situation. He thought maybe he had more runway ahead of him and wasn't ready for that. Here, I don't think you can blame the team, and I don't think he would either.
The number one topic in the NFL right now is Aaron Rodgers. Will he or won't he? And it's just the way that it is. And I just got sucked into it. There's a full segment on the NFL for you, everybody. Moose, go have your dart. Enjoy it. I'll see you in hour 2.
Thank you. Later.
Hockey analyst Jared Dumba coming up in hour 2 as well. Mini overtime right after this break. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best podcasts are found.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
It's another game day here in beautiful South Florida as we broadcast from Studio 23. The Detroit Red Wings are in town, but I won't be there. I'm announcing baseball tonight up in Wellington, Florida, and looking forward to that. A quick sports update for Heavy Jim. The Canucks will once again look to keep their faint playoff hopes alive tonight when they take on the Avalanche in Colorado. Vancouver chasing the Flames and Minnesota for the Western Conference's final playoff berth. Elsewhere, the league-leading Winnipeg Jets battle the Stars in Dallas. A lot of talk of that in hour two, okay? Just hold on to your bingo cards. The Blue Jays are looking to complete the sweep today as they close out a 4-game set with the Red Sox in Boston. Toronto edged the home side 2-1 in 11 innings yesterday, thanks to Bo Bichette's sac fly that scored Ernie Clement. Chris Bassett is set to take the mound for Toronto today, while Walker Buehler gets the start for Houston. Heavy Jim isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. And as the boys have pointed out, this is mini overtime for Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Nobody throws birthdays like Overtime Hockey Lanes. So for the hockey-obsessed birthday boy or birthday girl in your house, let Overtime Hockey Lanes handle it all. Look them up at 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. From the audience, I was saying, where's that Rob in Yorkton who said that the Blue Jays were waiting to get home before they made the announcement and Vladdy can have a physical? Rob is watching. Thank you, Rob. He writes in and he says, hey, I had heard from 2 news sources at the time they were going to wait to get to Toronto to do the physical. Hearsay, I guess. Go Riders. That's great, Rob. I'm so skeptical of what I hear. I hate being so cynical, but if you'd seen what I'd seen in my life in the media, you would know why. I don't trust anything I hear. I hate it. Regarding making up with the Rough Riders and how I'm not thinking the way that I used to think with the green goggles. I won't do it. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. Wayne says, I agree with you on being a green glasses Rider fan. I think age gives a person perspective. I think I've mellowed somewhat on being a fan of the Riders. I definitely love all the CFL, and now more than 10 to 20 years ago. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hi, the CFL is great. I agree with you, Rod. Been saying that since 1973. I just wish some of the owners wouldn't treat it like a beer league. That's all. And why is this coming up now? Here's why. It's in my commentary today. I appreciate those that go read it. You always can at rodpeterson.com. I'm saying the old me, when I was voice of the Riders, I would have refused to have accepted that the BC Lions set a record for economic impact because we set it in 93 and 2013. How the hell could that ever be beaten in Rider? But no. What do you mean Investors Group Field in Winnipeg's louder than our Taylor Field? Nope. Yes, Rod, we have proof, this decibel meter. I don't care. Nope. Which a lot of people are still that way. I'm embarrassed that I ever was. Narrow-minded, stubborn, and real angry. It's not a way to go through life. Freddie in Winnipeg writes in, he says, hey, Rod, I read your commentary on your website. Not easy to share when you're wrong. But I'm proud of you, brother, for trying to change your old narrow-minded ways. Never too late to change. Trust me, you're preaching to the choir, Rod, Father. Have a great show. So it's okay to admit that you're wrong. But when some nincompoops, won't accept that you have changed or grown, and then they're the ones with the problem, as I've learned. So, yeah, I can still be the Rider guy, but I want to be the CFL guy. And I wound up that commentary by saying the BC Lions earned the right to say they hosted the greatest Grey Cup ever. And they've got the statistical data to back it up. It was amazing. And I was so glad to say that I was there. And they treated me great. Go, BC, go! A lot of hockey coming up next hour, including Jared Dumba. Stick around.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
No! Taylor writes in, he says, Roddy, why do you keep that microphone in front of your face? I find it a little distracting, but enjoy the show otherwise.
How about that?
I moved it because my chiropractor said, Rod, your neck is getting screwed because you're leaning over this microphone all the time. Can you prop it up? My chiropractor is very happy.
Oh, yeah.
You guys aren't. I don't know what to do. Been in radio for 30 years. I never worried about what it looked like.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Still not. I hope you're happy with my microphone placement, everybody. Nobody's complained since that guy. I don't even remember who it was. It's hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. We're live on Game Plus television across Canada and 32 U.S. states. The Masters teeing off today. We're also streaming live, and Moose is all over it. He's dressed like a golfer today. Do you have a Masters update for us, Moose, before we move on to other things?
Leaderboard's out. The German Stefan Jaeger, -4. Scotty Scheffler's -3. And I'll tell you, Rory McIlroy, I think, tees off in about 15 minutes. And Bryson DeChambeau is off in about 25 minutes or so.
I'll tell you what, why are we asking that? That's our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Who will win the Masters? We went with the top 3 odds favorites. 43% of you saying Rory McIlroy. There's actually quite a bit of reaction from the people here. 26% saying other, 19% saying Scotty Scheffler, and 12% saying Bryson DeChambeau. So as soon as we're off the air in an hour's time, or Moose are going to be done here in 20 minutes, he'll be eating pimento cheese sandwiches and watching the Masters. Here's my thing. And we're going to get to the NHL tonight here right away. Plus some pretty good topics have come up from the viewers for once. Thank you, Bomber Boy, for giving us a couple of interesting topics to get to. The Detroit Red Wings are here tonight. It's one of 10 NHL games. I was reading the game notes this morning for all of the NHL. There's 64 games left in the regular season. 10 will be played tonight. But I'm not going I'm going up to Wellington, Florida. Probably going to stop in and see Brent from Wellington, Florida. But I don't really need to go to the games, Darren. There's 3 of us in the booth. And the last game, I said to Lisa, that's Curtis Pride's wife, the former Montreal Expo. I'm like, why do you really need me? I said, you're handling the home team announcing. He's handling the scoreboard. I'm just sitting here scoring on my own. And she goes, I'm not really announcing anything, just from time to time, the visiting at bats. And she's like, well, we just like having you around. And I'm like, well, you know what? Since you said it so nicely, I'll keep coming around. So tonight, I don't even know if they need me. But it's fun to get to the ballpark, hang out with these former major leaguers and their families, and it's just a real good thing. I can miss a Panthers game tonight with Detroit in town. And just before we get to the picks for tonight's NHL games, Bomber Boy brought up random poll question. Who was the first NHL coach other than Torts to get fired this offseason? Can we walk that back for a second? A new team has entered the chat with regards to general managers' firings. And I heard Elliot Friedman talking about this yesterday on NHL radio. Darren, you and I we said what? Where were the openings going to be? Chicago, I hear. You said maybe Vancouver. Do you remember the teams we talked about that day?
We were talking about GMs, yeah. Vancouver we put on that list.
There was 3.
Buffalo was the other one.
I can't remember the third. Buffalo. Yeah. Thank you. So, listen, Elliot Friedman, he and I used to work together at the Score 100 years ago. Elliot's a good guy, and he's pretty transparent. He's very good at what he does. That's why he's Sportsnet's #1 insider there. He's the guy that predicted Ottawa to make the playoffs this year, and he was right way back in September. He said yesterday, Elliot Friedman, that it's very hard to predict what the Rangers will do. And he goes, I'm supposed to be the insider, and I can't tell you what they're going to do. He goes, but he said their owner is, what did he say, a wild card or erratic or something like that? And I'm not sure that it's the owner, because I think they're owned by a conglomerate, Madison Square Garden, an entertainment or whatever. But it's James Dolan, the president. Doesn't that tell you something? He goes, he's so erratic, I can't tell you what he's going to do. But the Rangers, I think, have officially been eliminated in a year that a lot of pundits picked them to win the Stanley Cup. I picked them to miss the playoffs last year. We've been over that. I'm always a year ahead of my time. But are you prepared to add that chair to the list of teams looking for GMs? And by the way, it's Chris Drury. Or maybe they just fire a coach.
Yeah.
That's usually what you do,
I think everything's on the table when a team underperforms like that. I would say, I think we all agree, the Rangers have underperformed significantly. We thought they would be a team that would be a playoff team taking a step forward, being a top team, a contender out of the East. They haven't been at all. There were stretches where they played some really good hockey. So I wouldn't be shocked if we had changes with the Rangers.
Well, and that's kind of what Friedman was saying. He's, I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying they won't. And he goes, I'm supposed to be an insider. I can't tell you. But with this James Dolan, the president, Rich in Edmonton, writes in, he says, James Dolan, a real nut job. Just ask Knicks fans or Knick legend Charles Oakley. That's the thing. And you can substitute, if it's not a privately family-held team, which does still happen. The Steelers come to mind, like the Rooney family or the Mara family with the Giants. And we see it in various, the Pagulas own the Sabres and the Bills. There are some family-owned teams. But if it's a conglomerate or community-owned, you can use the president as the owner. They act like they're the owner, even though they're not. I'm not going to name any names. But if you look at dysfunctional conglomerate-owned sports teams, usually it's the president's the problem if they can't win. And that's, to be honest with you, why I kind of stay off MLSE's back. And nobody really rips the Leafs in my house because they got an NBA championship with the Raptors, which nobody cares about in Toronto because it's not the Leafs. But they've got a Grey Cup or two with the Argos and MLSE. They know how to win, at least with the other teams. I mean, I respect MLSE. I don't even know who's running it anymore. I guess Keith Pelly is, right?
Yeah.
They don't come across as a toxic organization to me. Do they to you?
No, they really don't overly. And they're making a boatload of money. obviously. But yeah, they just haven't on the hockey front. They haven't been able to figure out how to get over the hill, over the hump. They put good teams on the ice. They're always in contention. They're always in the playoffs now. So clearly they put good teams together. It's just a matter of winning a championship. And from a business perspective, if you're just looking at the X's and O's and the bottom line, I don't really know how much that matters.
There's a lot of teams, in my opinion, that do get lost in the goal. What's the goal? What are we here to do? Are we here to win, or are we here to make money? And there's a lot of teams that go, well, we don't need to win. We can still make money. And again, I'm not going to name those teams. My Dallas Cowboys come to mind, chief among them. We don't need to win. Stadium's full. Dolphins might have the same mindset. I'm not sure. But I'm just saying MLSE to me is not a team like the Rangers or certain other conglomerate-owned franchises that just can't ever seem to figure it out, because they have with some of their other teams. Okay, to the games tonight. Actually, no. You guys want to hit the Quick Six show horn? I just want to tell the viewers what they've missed. Can you hit the Quick Six show horn? Thank you, guys. We went to NHL leftovers last night. That's what we opened with. I beat Moose 3-2 in our picks, and if you can believe, we're tied heading down the stretch. 172 to 172. Unbelievable with our picks. Are tied with a week to go in the regular season. Blue Jays won again at Boston. They're going for a sweep tonight. Bo Bichette with a sack RBI fly in the 11th. Produced the winning run. The Blue Jays won at Boston last night, and they'll wind it up with the Red Sox this afternoon before heading to Baltimore to have their way with them. Some football notes. The 111th Grey Cup in Vancouver set a record for economic impact, $121.9 million. Some NFL notes. What's taking Aaron Rodgers so long to sign with the Steelers? Tyreek Hill's in trouble again. We talked some Masters. Briefly, the NBA. And now that rolls us into the NHL tonight. Are you ready to go with the 10 games, Moose?
Rod, it's just like the hot dog races up on the Jumbotron. They're going, and all of a sudden it's, no, this one's ahead. That's our race. We don't know what's going to happen right till the very end. Here we go. I'm ready.
I'm fairly competitive, but if I don't win this race against you, I will be very gracious in conceding to you. Gracious in defeat. I don't really care. But I know it's been a hell of a lot of fun. I'm getting a Golden Corral buffet either way.
Yes.
Either I'm paying for it or you're paying for it. So we're kind of a win either way. Detroit at Florida tonight. Who do you like?
Panthers.
I'll take the Panthers too. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if Detroit, they're so far back, it doesn't even matter. Chicago at Boston. I'll go Bruins.
Ooh. Okay, I'll go Chicago.
Okay. Buffalo at Columbus. Blue Jackets for me. Last I heard, they still have a sniff, don't they?
Okay, I'll take Buffalo.
Carolina at Washington.
Oh. Carolina for me.
Hey, me too. I'm sorry. I think the Caps shot their wad on Sunday with the Islanders game. Even though no, I'm changing that. I'm taking the Caps. You can stay with Carolina. They still want the President's Trophy.
All right.
Yeah, Washington. Washington for me, dog. Rangers at the Islanders. Oh, 2 grease fires. I'll take the Islanders.
Yeah, I have to go with the Isles too.
Okay. Game of the night, obviously, Winnipeg Jets at the Dallas Stars. Well, I'm going all in on Dallas as my Western Conference pick, so I'll take Dallas to win tonight.
I'll go with Winnipeg then. I think Winnipeg, they showed it against St. Louis. I think they'll play well. Beat Dallas.
Nashville at Utah. Ooh.
Utah.
Okay, I'll take Nashville. Vancouver at Colorado.
Cavs.
Okay, I'll take Vancouver. Ooh, this is going to get spicy.
We could get a lot of
Seattle
separation
at Vegas.
here. Or,
yeah, I'll go first. Vegas.
So will I. I got to take Vegas too.
And Anaheim at the Los Angeles Kings. Kings for me.
Yeah, I got to go with the Kings as well.
That's our picks, everybody. What are yours? Fire them up on the comment section. 902-518-3033 is the Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive, and you could save a bunch. Ted in Red Deer writes in, and he says, the first step to winning a championship is getting into the tournament, which MLSE is very good at. They won a series last year, so I guess that's progress. A lot of things hinge on what the Leafs do. I don't think Berube's job or even Brad Treliving's job. Again, they are very good. They're going to have 100 points. Did they hit 100 points last night? I think they did.
Yeah.
They're right there. Yeah, they did. 100 points is a tremendous season. It's going to be on the players in the playoffs. That's it. I'm not going to blame Keith Pelly. Not going to blame anybody. It's on the players. Troy Colmer in Toronto watching. He says, I could go for a hot dog now. Wonder if I'll go for one this afternoon. I've been eating too many hot dogs. But those Nathan, I don't think it's healthy to eat hot dogs every day, do you?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
Just a hunch.
They're so damn good. So damn good. The Frozen Four facing off in St. Louis today. Really enjoyed that interview yesterday with the executive director of College Hockey, Inc., Sean Hogan. Western Michigan versus Denver in one game. Boston University versus Penn State in the other. Darren, I was at an FAU, Florida Atlantic University, just down the street from my house, softball game. The Owls were playing a tournament, season opening tournament here about 2 months ago. And the public address announcer, stadium packed, not a big deal, Friday afternoon. I went right after this show. Do you remember I said I was going to that game? 2:30. FAU was playing Penn State. And the announcer, the public address announcer, just the way they did it, a Friday afternoon. And now the starting lineup for your Nittany Lions of Penn State. There's all these fans here for the Penn State in South Florida. Of course, everybody from everywhere lives here. But all of a sudden, I'm getting chills. The Nittany Lions of Penn State. Nobody does sports like America. I think that's why I feel so at home here and why they like me so much, because I'm so big into sports. You are too, but it's like I can dig that. I've told you, when I announce those baseball games like I will tonight at Wellington High School, as soon as I crack that mic and start talking, I see the parents and the fans' necks snap up to the booth. Who is that up there? Which I like that. I'm not saying that arrogantly. That's what I do. That's a good feeling, right? And I don't know, I just feel like in Canada, it was always a lot of, Just became part of the furniture after a while. Or am I selling it this too much?
Well,
what do you see?
Probably a little bit of both. It's new and it's exciting and all the rest, but you know what? It's fun. Enjoy it. And you're right. Like, they just love their sports. And we love our sports up here too, but it's just so many more people. So it's easier to have all those full venues down there, which makes it so much more exciting. When you go to any game in any sport and it's full and people are into it and they're excited, it's impossible not to get swept up in that. That's cool.
Well, I could go on about this for days, but I went to the FAU hockey games 4 years ago. I think I told you this, and the rink was bursting at the seams. They play in the Panthers' old practice rink, but the place was jammed. Think Sherwood Twin Arenas or Gemini and Saskatoon, whatever. The biggest rink, even the cooperators, but jammed. And I just met the coach the other day. I'm like, what is up with this? This isn't just boyfriends and parents like we see in Canada at college games. He's like, I don't know, the college runs 3 buses of students over. And now when I went to Mount Royal in Calgary, we had buses going, but it was to Flames games, and we could get in for $10. But we didn't really go to the games on campus, But here they do, and they support, and it's pretty raucous. It's cool as hell. Okay, Moose, enjoy the golf.
Thank you. Have a good one.
See you tomorrow. Our NHL analyst, Jared Dumba, joins us next from the hockey-playing Dumba family. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever you get your
902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit shaniatwain.com.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
RP Show brought to you in Hour 2 by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They got it all. Use promo code RP Show for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. If we can move in our NHL analyst, Jared Dumba. Jared, I'm just going to read off a couple comments before I get to my questions for you. John Ohm writes in, he says, sports is a religion in the USA. Agreed, Reverend Rod. Bomber Boy says, it's funny how religion and sports fervor resemble one another. It's not funny at all. It's why I get along with both concepts. And Navy Dawn in Ottawa writes in, he says, for some reason, Canadians couldn't be bothered to cross the street for a damn good U Sports tilt, but they crossed broken glass on their knees to watch Alabama play Auburn in tiddlywinks. Yeah, they take it very seriously, and so do I, and that's why we get along. And, Jared, before we talk NHL, you lived in a lot of classic American cities, so you know what I'm talking about. They love sports all over, not just in the South.
Oh, yeah, especially I lived in Oklahoma, I lived in Texas, lived in Austin, so I got to see that rivalry. I went to OU Tech this weekend in Dallas. They shut off downtown. There's police everywhere. You just walk, there's no cars downtown. It's amazing. And then I lived just a couple blocks away from OU Stadium when I played in Oklahoma City. Seeing the amount of and the high school sports as well. Over 100,000 people to a high school final game when I was in Oklahoma City. They set the record. You're getting a look at my kitty here. Sorry, the kitty's in the background. Sorry about that. But the people down there, they're sports crazy, as much, if not more, than we are here.
Yeah, it's why I like it. And when I go to announce now, it's nice to go to a full stadium, a full ballpark. It's fun. It's exciting. Having said that, we have that in Moose Jaw with the Miller Express too. So there are pockets in Canada too. But of course, the NHL arenas are all full. So I see you got your Leafs gear on. You guys are a Leaf family. They hit 100 points last night with that big win in Tampa Bay. Are you a believer, Jared?
I am. I said it first interview this year. I don't know. When you look at the way everything's setting up, from the new coach who's won before, from Marner and Tavares being in contract years, from the new defense that they brought in. You look at how many one-goal games. I think they've won more one-goal games than anybody else in the league. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it was that way about a month or two ago. You look at the way everything's setting up. Matthews was injured for a little while. That can mean you're a little more fresh for the playoffs. I think they can do it. I'm still gonna say yes. I think they can do it. Now, would I be surprised if they lose in Game 7 in the first round? No, but I think if there's any year out of the past 10 that they can do it, this is definitely the one.
Okay, well, you're following it closely. Serena and I got in quite a debate yesterday on our Cats and Bolts podcast about the Leafs goaltending situation, because she thinks Joseph Wall is their number one guy going into the playoffs. And I said, I'm not so sure. Stolarz, I was watching the Leafs Lightning game last night. He started 30 games and they won. That's not an insignificant number of games for your backup, I don't think. Is it going to be Wall for sure? Because he was pretty leaky here in Sunrise the other night.
I can't even wager a guess, Roddy. I mean, I hear half the people saying, yeah, it's Wall for sure, go with Wall, and the other half saying Stolarz, no, he's got to be the number one. I'll tell you what the good problem that I like about this is, and at the beginning of the year, I even said, I'm not sure if the goaltending is good enough to win in the playoffs. We don't know that. They don't have the experience. Wall played great last year. If he would have played Game 7, I think that you could have had a different outcome. But the good thing for Leafs and Leafs fans about this is you've got two guys who you're arguing who's the number one. Nobody knows. So, I mean, it could be a lot worse. You could have a clear-cut guy and a backup goalie where you go, I'm not. If he has to go in, we're in trouble. You know, you can put either one of those guys in, and if Stolarz has a bad night, you can throw Wall in. Wall looks a little shaky one night, you can go to Stolarz. And the boys are gonna have a lot of confidence in no matter who's back there, especially after the season they've had together.
No, I've heard the phrase in football, if you've got two quarterbacks, you don't have one, which I found out is not true. That's hogwash, and it's the same thing with goalies. I think you'd rather have two good goalies that have won than just the one, which, by the way, here in Florida, they don't care who's Bob's backup, but they literally don't need to care. He's got it. Bomber Boy writes, and he says, is there a year where Leaf fans don't think they can go all the way? True, but parade, Jared says this is different. Yeah, but you're still LA Kings first, are you not?
Yeah, I've always been a Kings fan. I was just thinking about that yesterday, talking to somebody. They're saying that, if the Leafs and the Kings met up in the final, who would you want to win? And I had to think about it for a while. It would be hard not for me to cheer for the Kings, but I might be cheering for the Leafs because I like the storyline. I want Canada to win. I'd love to see the Leafs Nation get a cup. I'd love to see Marner and Matthews and Nylander get over that hump, and Tavares. And, I'd love to see Riley get one. You never know if it's going to happen. Like I said, this could be the year, but I think I'd rather see the Leafs win this year. LA, we've got a bunch. We're good. We're good for another decade.
Who were you cheering for in '93 when they met in the Clarence Campbell Conference Championship?
Kings.
Or was it the Whales? I can't remember. It's so long ago. It was the Kings and Wayne Gretzky. Okay. I can't remember, literally.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fans of every team that watch this show, but particularly the Edmonton Oilers. And Rich in Edmonton's written in and saying that they're old and they just lumber around and act like they don't care. And I'll be honest, for a lot of the season, they have. But are they going to crank it up and get back to the Stanley Cup or not? The Oilers.
If I'm guessing this year, just the optics and the way Skinner's looked, I'd say no. But with that being said, would I be surprised if all of a sudden you get a clear slate and everybody goes, let's put that one behind us? You got a calm, cool coach and Chris Knobloch who's going to be saying that to the boys. They know that they can get to the final. With McDavid and Draisaitl, anything's possible. And then with Stuart Skinner, when you see – and I had this. I did this once or twice as a player. When you have a year that just things aren't going the right way, you maybe just feel a little off. Maybe you're dealing with a little something that nobody really knows. You're keeping out of the media, and you're not real happy with your season. As soon as the season ends, and you look at the numbers, and the numbers all say zeros, and it's a brand new season. It's like breathing a breath of fresh air into a player. And it's like, okay, here we go. Clean slate. It's like hitting the reset button, right? So I could see Stuart Skinner all of a sudden, I could see us talking 2 weeks into the playoffs and going, where the heck did this guy come from? The old Skinner's back, So if Skinner turns it up a little bit and they get the big guys start turning it on, they could go. But just the optics, I'll stick with my original answer. The optics from this year, you'd have to think, they might win around, I'm not sure about 2.
If you believe in betting odds, which I do, the Oilers have slipped out of the top 6 and the Jets are now in, if that means something in Vegas. John in Edmonton writes in, he says, Jared, sorry, but the only cup you'll ever see will be that photo in black and white from the 60s. I'm sorry. That's from John in Edmonton. Bomber Boy, which we're getting somewhat derailed off what I wanted to talk to you about, but that's okay. We like to involve the viewers. Bomber Boy says having 2 great goalies on one team during the playoffs is only a bonus if one gets hurt. If one gets cold, it's usually too late to switch. No. Case in point, Canucks Oilers last year, they had to pull Stuart Skinner out, put in Calvin Pickard for a game or 2, go back to Skinner, takes him all the way to the Stanley Cup. That's my everything. It's different. Yeah, you'd love to have a clear-cut number 1 like Vasilevsky in Tampa or Bob or whatever. I listened to Bruce Boudreau this morning, Jared. He says, this is on NHL radio, he goes, I've gone into the playoffs winning 7 in a row. I've gone into the playoffs losing 4 of 5. You make the best of it, right? The main thing is getting there. Main thing is getting there.
You get there, like I said, as soon as you get there, it's a clean slate. There's doesn't matter who finished where. You got to, if you're going to get to the Cup final and win the Cup, you're going to have to beat the best teams anyway. Nobody cares. You got that clean slate. Like I said, it's like hitting the reset button when you get there, and that's the time. And you got to get up for those games. You either get up for them or you don't.
I'm trying to remember, that phrase of what's the tougher division, conference, East or West, and it's. Let them battle it, kick the crap out of each other in their conference, and then by the time they get to the final, we'll win. Well, look at the last Stanley Cup finals. Florida's been in, the state of Florida's been in 3 of the last 4 or 4 of the last 5, the Lightning or Panthers. Which conference does the Stanley Cup winner come from this year, do you think?
Oh, it's a tough call. This year seems to be a tougher call than other years, but I'm thinking it's going to be Eastern. I don't know why. It just seems like that the Western Conference just isn't. They're a lot better than they have been. LA's a lot better. You look at Dallas and these guys. It's could very well come out of the West, but I'm thinking it's going to come out of the East again for whatever reason.
Well, we have a week to go before the regular season ends. I have said. It's Dallas for me. Sorry, Winnipeg. Yeah. And they know why. They know why. They haven't done it. And Dallas has been in the conference finals. They've been in the Stanley Cup final. They've fortified their roster. They've got the war wounds to show it. Not like the Jets don't. But Dallas is my team. I haven't decided the East yet. But we got a week. Who are you thinking?
Well, you know what? Dallas is a great call. I'm thinking for some reason I got to stick with the Leafs. I'm thinking the Leafs are going to pull it out. It just seems like to me. I think there's going to be some sort of magic, and I haven't called the Leafs. I know the Leafs fans say that they're going to win every single year. I haven't said that they're going to win any year of the last decade. I think just the way it's shaping up, I think it's time. I think the Marners, the Matthews are hitting the right age. Tavares is still a great player, and he's getting older. He's going to be a little hungrier, and they've all been through it so many times. And then you got the young guys. You got Matthew Nyes. He's got another hat trick last night, his second one. He's looking great. When you get guys like that, and McMahon, you get the Domies of the world coming in. Like Domi always plays great in the playoffs. I think they're going to step up, and you only need a couple of those Nyes and Domi type guys to step up to where the rest of the team follows behind. And with the defense being, I think, a lot better this year, it's just kind of a quietly really good defense. You get, if they step up and play like they have been, I think that's going to be the Leafs.
And let me guess, you got the Stars in the West.
Yeah, 100%. And even if I did, I truly think that's going to be the Stars. But even if I didn't, I'd have to say that since Matt's playing there. He's anywhere Matt plays, we have to. It's just a family thing. We have to cheer, right, for Matt's team.
He's talking about his cousin Matt Dumba, by the way. Yeah, your dad and his dad are cousins, correct?
Correct. Yeah. We just went down to Edmonton and watched Edmonton Dallas. Yeah. We watched the Edmonton Dallas game, the first game for Rantanen. Boy, did Rantanen look a lot different in a Dallas uniform than he did down the road in Carolina. That was Dallas has got a great team. It's going to be tough for anybody to win, but Dallas, would I be surprised if they won it? Not at all.
Looks like 5 Canadian teams in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Would have been nice if there were 4. Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton, Winnipeg. Yeah. And we're missing Calgary and Vancouver. But that even Ottawa, Montreal coming in is at the expense of the Bruins, Rangers, Red Wings, Blackhawks, original 6 teams. I think I'd rather have this. I'd rather have the Canadian teams. It's been a fun chase, hasn't it? It's going to be an even funner playoffs.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? Everybody's talking about, well, Washington's been so good all year. Are they going to win the Cup? If it plays out where they're going to be playing the Montreal Canadiens, look out. Montreal's been hot. They've got one of the better third lines in the league. They've got the young guys. Their first line, obviously, has been playing really well. Now, who knows? We get to see Demidov come in tomorrow night. If every announcer that I'm listening to is right and they're claiming he's going to step right in and be a high-end player, now you're adding, I mean, you can put him on the 3rd or 4th line, and if he gets a couple of goals in the playoffs in a series, that could be huge for you. Maybe the young guy gets excited, but Montreal, don't count them out with the way they've been rolling lately. They got good goaltending, a lot of firepower. They're starting to be fairly well-rounded. If Washington just looks by them like they're going to blow right by them, they could be in some trouble.
It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait to do this again with you again, Jared. Thank you so much. Give my best to Sosa, please, and your family, and we'll do it again soon.
I will. Thank you.
Our NHL analyst, Jared Dumba, checking in. From the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, by the way. I didn't mention that to you. We got a sports update coming up and viewer takeover. The rest of the way, you and me, here live on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting, wherever the best podcasts are found.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit. As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage, and at IKS Media, we have you covered for all things SJHL. SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Honky Tonk legend Mark Chestnut. Celebrating 35 years of music. Joined by special guest Aaron Goodvin. June 28th at Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at sasktix.ca.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's a Tuna Turner production today, and we're broadcasting from Studio 23 as you look at it. It's another game day here in South Florida, the great state of hockey, as I like to say. Any given night, one of our teams is playing. Panthers tonight, home to Detroit. Last night, the Leafs won in Tampa, 4-3 in overtime. It's a great place to enjoy hockey. I'll just tell you that right now. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach me here on the Progressive Insurance text line. Switch to Progressive and you could save a bunch. 902-518-3033. I haven't looked at it for a while. Fill it up, everybody, because it's you and me the rest of the way to the top of the hour. Funny how we always come out of that break at this exact same time. It's like I've done this before. Heavy Gym Sports Update. The Toronto Blue Jays are making it official. Slugger Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has signed a 14-year extension with the team worth $500 million. Reports surfaced early Monday that the two sides had agreed to a deal, and the team made it official Tuesday night. The Blue Jays continue their series in Boston with a matinee today, looking to pull off a sweep. Chris Bassett on the mound for Toronto against the Red Sox. Walker Buehler. The Vancouver Canucks look to build on a dramatic comeback when they visit the Colorado Avalanche. Vancouver kept its faint playoff hopes alive by scoring 3 goals in the final minute before beating Dallas 6-5 in overtime on Tuesday. But they were eliminated from playoff contention last night with Minnesota's 8-7 overtime victory over San Jose. It's funny, when we were talking about goalies earlier with Darren and Jared and on our Cats and Bolts podcast, Serena and I were debating it. I know Not everybody's into this, but I am. That was Marc-Andre Fleury's 75th overtime win, number one all-time in the NHL. He surpassed Martin Brodeur for that. Love the goalie stats and records. And with Rich in Edmonton, I mean, I love the debate. And I love, actually, when it's viewer takeover, it's just me and you. We can really go back and forth. And he talked about how upset he is at watching the old Oilers lumber around. I'm not sure. I think that was the exact term that he used. But I see it here with the Panthers, too. They've been to the dance. They're just waiting for the real dance. That's what I think. And you got McDavid getting healthy. Leon getting healthy. I've seen it with teams. They get bored in the regular season. Maybe and if the Oilers weren't battling and they haven't even clinched yet, I understand that, but it's one of those years. Like the second the Panthers clinched on Saturday, which they only did by virtue of other games' results, Paul Maurice immediately started sitting guys. Sam Bennett out for the year. Kachuk's been out since Four Nations, probably healthy enough to come back. He knows these aren't the games that matter right now. Leafs want the pennant. Using a baseball term, they want first. They're playing like it. Sure, it's not that important to Paul Maurice. Nor do I think John Cooper either. Anyways, I'll go back and forth with you in a second. I'll finish up this sports update if you don't mind. The 89th edition of the Masters is underway at Augusta National. The 95 players represent the largest field in 10 years. All the attention is on two players. One of them is defending champion Scottie Scheffler for obvious reasons. The other is Rory McIlroy for sentimental reasons. He lacks a Masters green jacket to complete the career Grand Slam. Meanwhile, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson hit the honorary tee shots this morning. All of them said they think this is the year McIlroy gets it done. Nicklaus says he had lunch with McIlroy last week to go over his strategy. That's our poll question today for EMJ Marketing. Who will win this thing? And the majority of you saying it will be Rory. Luka Doncic entered the court with the LA Lakers for his first game back in Dallas last night to cheers in an arena where draped over every seat was a T-shirt with the Slovenian phrase for "Thank you for everything." Then came the tribute. A more than 2-minute highlight video of Doncic's time with the Mavericks was shown after the rest of the Lakers' starting lineup had been introduced. It was an emotional night for the 26-year-old Doncic and the Mavericks fans. He spent his first 5.5 NBA seasons in Dallas before the seismic trade 2 months ago. He scored 45 points as the Lakers won to clinch a playoff spot. We were talking earlier about Tyreek Hill. Here's the story. Police say Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill and his wife were involved in a domestic dispute at their South Florida high-rise condominium, but no charges were filed. Sunny Isles Beach officers responded to the home Monday following a call from Hill's mother-in-law. She had been living with the couple since November, shortly after her granddaughter was born. According to a police report, the mother-in-law told responding officers that Hill was aggressive and impulsive and that she was afraid for her daughter. She said Hill threw a laptop on the floor and grabbed his baby before walking toward the balcony. Hill's agent didn't immediately respond to a telephone message seeking comment. So that's the discussion all around here right now as I live in South Florida. Do we want this guy on our team? Apparently they do. The Dolphins themselves. He's still there, right? The sports headlines are for Heavy Gym. Heavy Gym isn't just about lifting weights. It's about lifting your spirit, your strength, and your potential. Step into the gym that's changing lives. Find out more at heavygym.ca. It's literally just one problem after another with this guy. And maybe if we knew him, it would be different, i.e. Mike McDaniel, the head coach, knows him very well. The general manager, Chris Greer, knows him very well. I would think the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, knows him very well. Seems like he could be a real charming guy. Hey, didn't you know he sponsors a flag football league here in South Florida? He's got to be a great guy. Yeah, but he was going to throw it. I would get the guy into counseling. That's what I would do. find out what really is bothering him. I wonder if they've done that. John writes in, he says, not much talk on a Panthers repeat. Well, hang on. We'll be coming right back with Overtime, and we'll get to all of your questions and comments. That's when we address what's on all of your minds. Overtime for Overtime Hockey Lanes is next, and there you go. You read my mind, guys. Fill up that Progressive Insurance text line, 902-518-3033. We'll return in a flash here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcasting wherever the best
From cash spiels to Grand Slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Shania Twain.
Let's go, girls.
Live in Moose Jaw. Shania Twain. One incredible show. Live at Temple Garden Center, July 7th. With special guest, Lindsay L. Get tickets Friday, March 21st at 10 a.m. at the Temple Garden Center's box office or sasktix.ca. For more, visit ShaniaTwain.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors. There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life. Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Sports fans, sign up for the Rod Squad newsletter today. Stay ahead of the game with exclusive insights, updates, contests, and exclusive content delivered straight to your inbox. Best of all, it's free. Sign up for free at rodpeterson.com. This is Overtime. It's brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. And They're in Calgary. Nobody does birthdays like Overtime Hockey Lane. So for the hockey-obsessed birthday boy or birthday girl in your house, stop the presses. Let Randy and Michelle at Overtime Hockey Lanes take care of the birthday for you. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. Okay, we got it going on Tyreek Hill and then also the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup. Both very odd stories. If you weren't watching the last segment, sucks to be you. I'm not going to go over it again. But cops were called to the home of Tyreek Hill on Monday by his mother-in-law because of his behavior towards the baby and her daughter. The baby and the mother-in-law's daughter follow along. I said get him into counseling. Rich in Edmonton writes in, and he says, anger management with Tyreek Hill, possibly. Sounds like another Antonio Brown. Bomber Boy. Very smart guy, obviously. Bomber Boy says, eyewitness testimony is viewed as the weakest form of evidence in the court of law. Not saying this is the case, but facts can get confused with hyperbole real fast in real life. Let me give you an example, and let me tell you a story. Yesterday, as I'm waiting to get into the studio, our other one where we do the Cats and Bolts podcast, I'm sitting there minding my own business in a French cafe in the same strip mall as our broadcast studio for that. All of a sudden, tung, 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 the building shakes. I hear this water. It's on my personal social media. You can see it on my Facebook story. Rocco, you might have seen it. We all jumped up out of our seats, run outside, and this car, a Toyota, come plowing into the front patio of the cafe I was in, right between two pillars, seared off a fire hydrant, and water just pumping. And all of a sudden, the car jams in reverse and backs out of there. Well, the three owners of the restaurant, because I go in there every week, I know them. They're all French guys. They all went outside, but they didn't speak great English. It was a little old lady driving the car. So I went out, grief, trauma, stress management certification right here. So she's losing it, okay? And I started rubbing her back, and I said, can you tell me what happened? She's like, I don't remember. I said, okay, well, just hang on. I said, we all thought that it was a drunk driver from the bar next door that seared this off. You seem fine. She's like, I'm not on any drugs. I don't drink. I'm not on any medication. I said, okay, so did you hit the wrong pedal or something, or what happened? She's like, I don't remember. It's exactly what Bomber Boy is saying. Her brain went into acute stress mode, trauma. She couldn't remember a thing. And I said to her, listen, normally there's people sitting out here. There isn't. You're the luckiest woman alive. Otherwise, you're going to jail, probably for what's left of your life. But there's nobody here. It's an accident. That's why they call it an accident. You'll be fine. And she was like, why are you asking me so many questions? And I said, because we're just rehearsing for when the authorities get here. And she's like, oh my God, the police are coming. I'm like, yeah, and the fire department, everybody. So let's just go over what happened. And she turned to me and she goes, you're a very special person. I said, this isn't about me. Again, let's go over what happened here. Calm down. And it was just, I don't know if she ever remembered what happened. Or she blacked out. But she wasn't drinking or anything like that. And I'm going to say this again. Normally that patio was filled with people. My guess is she came around the corner, meant to hit the brake, hit the gas, right into the patio. Oh, my God. It's always something. One of the dads of the baseball team I announced for saw my story, and he's like, oh, my God, Florida. I said, it was a little old lady, Boca. This whole city's full of them. They're fighting here. Oh, yeah, we can't. Come on, guys. Please keep it civil in the comments section, for the love of God. Freddie writes in, he says, gotta go, Rod. Good show today. Going to YouTube to watch Sarah Orleski and Jamie Thomas about the Jets and Stars tonight. See you tomorrow, dude. See you, Freddie. It is the game of the night. I should be home from my baseball announcing duties in Wellington, Florida, in time to watch that game tonight, or at least a portion of it. It's the clash of the Titans. Of the 10 games tonight, it's not even close. This is the best one. I picked Dallas to win tonight. Moose picked Winnipeg. After tonight, there will be only 54 games left in the regular season. Moose and I are in a dead heat. 172 in our picks. Unbelievable. Talking about the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup. Don't laugh. We were. Kirk in Toronto writes in and he says, hey, Rod, if the Leafs were to ever win a cup, you would think that this would be their year to do it finally. I want to see the Stanley Cup paraded at BMO Field during an Argo game. Well, I'll tell you, I saw the Stanley Cup paraded at Mosaic Stadium during a Rider game. That was 2019 when our 3 Saskatchewan boys on the Blues brought it home. Braden Shen, Jaden Schwartz, and Tyler Bozak. Where is Tyler Bozak, by the way? Is he still playing in St. Louis? Tuna, do you know? Let me go to the big board. I have not heard that name in quite some time. Doesn't take long. Bozy. No, he hasn't played since 2022. Way to go, Rod. I must have missed the announcement of Tyler Bozak announcing his retirement. John says, best damn show right here. Thank you, John. Enjoy the game tonight. Take a chill pill if you need to. Wayne in Victoria, BC says, great show, Rod, as usual. And all you football fans, particularly CFL fans, get ready. Rejoice. Tomorrow it's a Football Friday with the CFL on TSN's Jim Barker. Whatever you would like to talk about, but let's be honest, it is a dead spot on the calendar. But we'll find something, and hopefully you'll help us out with that. And Moose will be with us as well, so we'll have our NHL picks and all the latest of what's going on, probably a little Masters talk too. So be good to yourselves, everybody, more than anything, and we'll see you in 22 hours.
That's the secret sauce.